martial arts school owners do have a clear sales process from bringing in an inquiry slash lead to turning them into a fully paying enrolled member of your martial arts school, a white belt. Do you have that clear process outlined? So I say this to a lot of my mentees, you shouldn't try to overcomplicate anything in your business, or indeed any business that you own or run. You always want to try and make it as simple as possible, but no simpler. So again, those martial artists out there that have read any of Bruce Lee's, famous quotes or anything about his Jeet Kune Do philosophy or anything, make things simple but no simpler. So the same applies in your martial arts school. So if your school at the moment now is more like a club and people just call you up, and then they might not even call you up, they might just turn up, unannounced and drop in, and then you just throw them into lesson, you let them just join in and then see how they get on. Where's the sales process there? So you always need to have a clear system in place. Now, the system, like I said, doesn't need to be really complex. The easier it is to follow, especially if you're growing a team of instructors or building out a team, even if they're junior instructors, the easier it is for you to follow that system or for them to follow the system, the better your business will run. So for us, it's always, obviously we're going to carry out marketing to get leads or inquiries. They then contact us through phone, email, occasionally text, sometimes DM on Facebook. And then we organise for them to take part in a first lesson. Now, that first lesson is a choreographed lesson for them, or choreographed, should I say? It's a stage managed lesson for them to take part in, obviously, a lesson that we'd want them to join in. So we don't just throw them into a normal lesson. We need to make sure that it's at their pace and we teach them what we want to teach them for the first lesson. So for us, it's always like it's martial arts, obviously, whatever your style is. Judo is always about respect. Krav Maga is always about respect. Jiu Jitsu is always about respect. Here at our school, we teach respect. So again, you always want to make sure they're getting off on the right start. So it's always about respect. Then you can drop on, talk about focus, self-control, and then obviously a few basic techniques there. Now, going back to the main point of the video, what you shouldn't do is just let them join in the first lesson. Make sure that they're just possibly shadowing maybe even a belt higher or maybe one of your brown belts. That's obviously better than nothing, but you want to make sure that somebody's in front of them throughout the entire lesson. So, for instance, our consultation intro, the first lesson, was probably about half an hour long. One of our instructors would always be there, and it might be a small group of two, three, four, five, six, but then we'd also have a couple of brown belts or black belts, shadowing them as well or mirroring what they needed to do. So that would be stage one. Then stage two then is for them to come down to a second lesson, which is, a normal lesson. So again, hopefully you've broken your timetable down into, let's say for instance, beginners, intermediate, advanced. So hopefully then they're going to come down to a beginner's lesson, and again, they're not going to be overwhelmed too much by black belts doing high advanced takedowns or kicks or anything like that, aggressive self-defense knife attacks. They're just coming in and again doing what they've done during the first lesson, the consultation, but now adding on to it as well. And again, you're constantly looking to make sure that the parents or the guardian, the parent support network is there and they're understanding and following the lesson. And then after that second lesson, then if they are ready to enroll, and again, that's up to your job as a school owner, as a martial artist, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, to prepare them as much as you can, pre-frame them as much as you can to enroll on the end of that second lesson. So again, that's where the sales process comes in. What you don't want is for them to come down on, let's say, for instance, Monday, and then not know when they're going to come down again, if or not they're going to come down again, because obviously parents, busy lives, life gets in the way. It's half term, and suddenly somebody's ill in the family, then something else happens, then it's the next holidays, or well, we're going away for 2 weeks now. And they might have wanted to enroll into your school, but life gets in the way. So for us, and I'd always recommend this to my mentees, they come down to an orientation or an intro lesson, a well managed, stage managed lesson. It's may have small group of one, two, three, four, five, six other students, all doing the same thing, all doing the first lesson. Then at the end of that lesson, if you're obviously, one instructor, you then book them in for the second lesson. And it's not that same consultation again, it's actual normal scheduled beginner's lesson or however you break your timetable down. And then that's when they obviously attend the second lesson, and hopefully if they can see true value in your program and what you're teaching, they'll enroll at the end of that second lesson. So when you start to build a team, so obviously at our peak we had 10 full-time team members. Now I'm not saying that's the way you need to go, because looking back, we could have got away with about five, maybe 6 full-time team members. The bigger your team becomes, the harder it is to manage, the more inefficiencies creep in, and so on. So at the end of that second lesson, obviously they know, or should I say, you or a team member needs to go around and then carry out, the price presentation, asking them questions. Would they like to enroll and so on like that. They shouldn't be lingering on for 4, 5, 6 weeks. They keep coming down to a beginner's lesson and then they're unsure if they're going to join. They keep coming down to a beginner's lesson and then they're unsure if they're going to join. You need to remember, and again, another thing I tell my mentees, especially if you've read the book or anything, you need to make sure you're treating your business like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll cost you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it should pay you like a business. If obviously you're knowledgeable and getting a decent advice and so on. So yeah, just make sure there's a clear sales process in there. Make sure it's simple. For us, it was they called us up or contacted us somewhere. We then booked them in for an intro lesson or a consultation lesson. That could be one-on-one, it could be a small group, but it is definitely not a normal beginner's lesson. And then during that lesson as well, depending on how many team members you've got, that consultation and intro, we then want to make sure that we're organising for them to come down for the second lesson. Ideally, you don't want to leave it a week out, because then you're training them you're framing them already that this is a once a week type of activity. And then again, you're stunting your growth, your retention will drop as well, and obviously profits for you. But again, it all boils down to another thing I tell my mentees. You need to have amazing belief in what you offer, your product, your program, your provision, and 1,000,000% genuinely believe it helps individuals. It develops so many transferable life skills and so on. You as a black belt need to be a product of the product, and again, your high grades need to be a product of the product. So yeah, if you don't have a clear sales process, get in touch. We will be able to help you. And again, you could be like one of the other mentees you work with and see your profits, exponentially grow. Get that sales process nailed on and make sure we're not making it too complex. It should be very, very easy. They come down for a consultation / intro. We then get them booked in for a second lesson, maybe 2 or 3 days after that. And then we look to enroll them on that second lesson. Good luck, everybody. Keep taking steps further forward. Check out more videos on this YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button, please. Give it a like as well. And just watch out. Obviously, we put more and more videos on here. Good luck, everybody. All the best. Keep training.